Assets versus liabilities. One of them can help you exponentially grow your wealth, while the other one will constantly be a burden on growing wealth. This is somewhat of a controversial topic, but you know what? We're going to jump into it and we're going to talk about it anyway. And I anticipate this is probably going to be first part of a multi-part series, simply because this is sometimes a confusing topic and there's just a lot to talk about. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Assets versus liabilities. So let's first define what is the traditional idea of an asset. Well, you've probably heard this before. Many people say, well, my house is an asset. My car is an asset. My boat is an asset. And my watch is an asset, right? You've probably heard all this. Now, from my definition and the definitions that I like to go by, an asset simply is something that pays you. Whether it pays you weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annual, it is something that pays you. Meanwhile, a liability is something that you need to pay. So let's look at these same definitions from the traditional sense of assets and think about it. Is your house an asset? Is your car, your boat, your watch, are these things an asset by the definition that I just gave? Let's look at the house first. Okay, so you have a house. Maybe you have a mortgage. Maybe you don't. It doesn't really matter. Does your house pay you, or do you pay your house? Well, I'd be willing to bet whether you have a mortgage or not, you pay your house, right? Whether you pay your house maybe semi-annually, maybe you pay it monthly because you have a mortgage. If you don't have a mortgage, you probably pay on it semi-annually or maybe even annually. You pay your property taxes, your insurance. Well, guess what? That is a liability. However, is it an asset, the house? Well, is it generating cash? Is it paying you more than what you are paying it to cover the liabilities? If the answer is no, then by my definition, it's a liability, right? Let me give you a couple quick examples of where you could possibly turn your house into an asset. So currently it's a liability. Let's just say, for example, you have a mortgage on your house. You pay $1,000 per month for your mortgage, which covers your PITI, which is principal, interest, taxes, insurance, right? You got all that. Costs you $1,000 a month. However, let's just say maybe you have a 3-car garage and you only use one stall. Maybe you rent out the other 2 stalls for, say, $600 a piece, and you generate $1,200 of cash flow each month. Well, guess what? Your house has just become an asset. You're generating $1,200 of cash flow while you're paying $1,000 per month in expenses to cover the mortgage. Guess what? You have a $200 per month cash flow on your house. Your house just went from a liability to now it's an asset, right? It is paying you. You're paying it, but guess what? It is generating more cash than what you are paying it. Do you get what I'm saying now? Does it make a little bit more sense? Let's use this same example as maybe on a boat, right? So you have a boat and you might think, hey, my boat's an asset. Well, I would have to say, no, actually your boat's probably a huge liability. Reason for that is you have maintenance, you have storage, you possibly have repairs, you probably have to pay for docking or like a slip somewhere where you keep the boat when it's in the water. You know, maybe you hire somebody to operate the boat when you're on it, right? Are all of these things generating cash? No. You're probably piling tons of money into it. Not to mention, you need to license the boat, most likely, wherever you're located. And you probably need to have insurance on the boat. I would highly recommend insurance. So, is this thing an asset? No, because you're paying it, right? However, let's think of this a little bit deeper. How can you turn your boat into an asset? Well, let's just say that you use your boat for 6 months out of the year. Well, during that 6 months, maybe you use the boat 2 days a week. Maybe you're just on weekends. You're a weekend warrior. You're out on the boat every weekend and you say, the rest of the week, 5 days of the week, the boat just sits there. Well, let's put our thinking cap on for a second and think, could I maybe rent the boat out during those 5 days of the week? Maybe I don't know, $30 an hour, maybe with a 6-hour minimum, something like that, $180 minimum for 6 hours, or maybe you do a full day for like $300. Well, guess what? Maybe you're paying in all of the expenses, the licensing, the insurance, the where you keep it for storage, as far as like a slip or a docking. Maybe all of your expenses add up to, let's just say, $1,000 a month. I'm just throwing out random numbers. Let's say $1,000 a month, but out of the 20 days out of the month that you're not using the boat, let's just say 10 of those days you're renting the boat out for a minimum of $180 a day. On 10 days, that's $1,800. Well, guess what? Your $1,000 that you're spending on the boat to keep it up is being offset by the $1,800 you're bringing in by renting the boat out. Guess what? You have $800 of cash flow each and every month, turning your boat from a liability. Now it's an asset. It is operating and it is throwing off cash flow month after month. Now, what about a rental property? Is that an asset or a liability? Well, depends how you operate it, right? Depends. Some people, unfortunately, operate their rental properties as a liability simply because maybe they have interest, maybe they have a mortgage with interest, taxes, insurance, maybe they have association dues, management fees, and all of that, let's just say, is $1,500 a month, but yet they only collect $1,200 a month in rent. Well, guess what? That's now a liability when really this thing should be a performing asset, putting money in your pocket month after month after month. Do you get what I'm saying? So I wanted to make a really basic video talking about assets and liabilities and the differences between the two. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who think their house is an asset, their car is an asset, their boat is an asset, their four-wheeler is an asset, right? No, unless you can get these things to start throwing off more cash than what you pay to maintain them on a monthly, semi-annual, quarterly, annual basis, whatever it is. As long as they are bringing in more money than what you pay to have these items, they are liabilities. So, hope that makes sense. I'll be back with probably more videos on this topic because it's a very interesting one, and you gotta understand this. If you can start focusing on assets versus liabilities, you can exponentially grow your wealth very, very quickly. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, everybody. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, by the way. Thank you. I'll see you soon.